School's out, weekend is ahead of you, it's a Friday night. You run home in the summer heat, you throw your bag on the couch, you boot up the old PlayStation, and you open up YouTube. What's the first thing you do? You search up Naruto on your shitty controller, and there you have it. Is that it? No. You have to find the right part. Each episode is hastily cut into 3 shitty quality parts. You can't even find part 2 half the time. 240 pixels at best. You lay in bed, still in your jeans, school clothes on, got your backpack in the corner. Life couldn't get any better. That's what anime was. Shitty quality, terrible pacing, and absolutely perfect. I grew up on Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, Hunter x Hunter, Detective Conan, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Death Note, Attack on Titan. Those are the standards for me. I know they aren't perfect, but they all bring at least one element that allows them to be mainstream hits. I tried Demon Slayer. I didn't really give it a chance, I think, but it wasn't really my thing. I don't know, maybe I should. Moving on. So based off of everything I've said so far, you know I'm pretty much an anime boomer. But there's a reason why I haven't watched any new anime in so long. I've been bathing in nostalgia. The latest anime I've seen is probably Attack on Titan, at least the completion. And the new gen anime that I've tried just haven't done it for me, or maybe I'm just jaded. Maybe anime has lost its essence. I don't know. Maybe a bit of both. Just a side note, I'm dying back here. I've been sick for a little while. I'm feeling a little bit like this guy. I've been dreading watching the show for a long time. This is coming from a place of deep sincerity. I don't know why exactly. Maybe I feel like it won't live up to my childhood. Maybe it'll prove that my childhood shows aren't actually that good without the nostalgia factored in. I don't know. But I will give it a chance. I have to. JJK the movie, JJK Zero. This is like the first thing that I watched. And the reason for that is this is what I've been told to watch first. And then just to cover my bases, I read the corresponding chapters. 0.1 to 0.4. I've watched a couple episodes of the season 1, but let's not talk about that. We'll just focus on this specifically because this is what I was told to watch first. There's a lot to talk about. We'll start with the neutral, okay? There are usually 2 types of storytellers. Ones who tell a story and develop their characters along the way, and then ones who put their characters at the forefront and then tell you the plot and the story as a side effect developing these characters. Now, Akutami is the latter, so he focuses mainly on his cast, and then, story and plot come second, at least during this arc, which is kind of, my only thing that I can judge the show on so far. This is inherently not a bad thing, just noteworthy. If Akutami is going to use that formula, I'm going to follow suit. And I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that name right. Actually, I don't really care. Let's talk about the characters. The main man, Yuta Akotsu. When it comes to a white meat babyface, this is it. Now, if you're not familiar with that term, that's a wrestling term for a good guy. And Yuta is a textbook protagonist. Bullied kid with a demon who wants to do the right thing no matter what. You can't hate it. And the good news is, he got plenty of development too. In fact, he's probably the most developed character in the story, which makes sense. He is the main guy. He goes from being a shy, bullied pushover to someone who can and wants to protect his friends. His ring and his katana seem to help stabilize Rika and is actually a pretty cool combo of tools. One of the surprising moments is when he uses a megaphone marked with cursed speech symbols. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't want to search it up and get spoiled, but it's heavily implied that Rika is descended from the Inumaki family, right? Later, it's revealed that Yuta is descended from the Sugawara, making him distantly related to Gojo. Clearly, bloodlines are important in the story. When Gojo mentions Rika's family, it becomes clear that the cursed power is often tied to lineage. Geto, later calling Rika the Queen of Curses, takes that idea even further. Rika isn't treated like a normal curse. In fact, she's framed as some sort of legendary curse. Her information page is especially interesting to look at. We get this story about how she stole her grandma's ring and gave it to the only person she liked. I really like that backstory. Moving on to the next character, Panda. I got broads in Atlanta. Anyway, at first it genuinely feels like it might be an actual panda, which is kind of dumb. I mean, not dumb by anime standards, but whatever. It's later revealed that he's a mutated cursed corpse, which I'm not sure what that is, but I'm sure we're going to learn more about. His abilities aren't really explained in the movie Zero either, but the way he fights make him feel like a brawler rather than a technique-heavy fighter. When he loses an arm, his body briefly looks like a stuffed animal, which kind of looks eerie, I'm not gonna lie. The next character is Maki Zenin. Now, this is the second most developed character in this story, and I feel like she has a lot of potential. Maki is introduced as intense and easily irritated. She relies heavily on weapons instead of curse techniques, and she's very clear about not being associated with her family. Early on, she asks Yuta what grade he is, immediately sizing him up. Maki comes from the Zenin clan, one of the major families that we learn about, and she's labeled as a failure because she can't naturally see curses and needs glasses to do so. The most interesting quote is the one regarding curses behaving like humans. She says, "Weak curses, just like weak humans, team up, while the strong ones stay solo." What does it say about curses, and what does it say about humans? I liked it. Togi Inumaki. Inumaki is a first-year student who's already a grade 2, which is impressive on its own based off of the information that we get. His cursed speech is extremely powerful, but clearly it comes at a cost, which is why he limits his speech to rice ball ingredients, I guess. Whenever he uses his ability, it damages him as well, forcing him to be careful. He's also a descendant of the cursed speech lineage, meaning this power is something he inherited rather than chose. I think that's what it means. He's a bit of a static character, but that's okay. He's interesting enough as is, and he contributes to the story. Suguru Geto. Geto is presented as a major threat, responsible for killing over 100 people.
Oh my god! Wow!
His curse techniques allow him to absorb and control curses, treating them like tools. Now, I'm sure we'll get a backstory for him at some point, but his motivations aren't really that well explained or that good, if I'm being honest. He's a guy with a family. Are they actually his family or not? They don't really look blood related, but okay, moving on. They don't explain that. Who has beef with people who don't do jujutsu. He thinks he's better than them because he has power and he doesn't want to spill jujutsu blood. Come on, that's good enough for like Voldemort, but I'm gonna need a bit more originality than that. The biggest reveal and silver lining is that Geto was once Gojo's closest friend. This has potential, at least potential to flesh out his character and motivations. A side note, he reminds me a lot of Gin from Bleach, at least his mannerisms, right? Or am I tripping?
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Satoru Gojo. What really caught my attention is how different he looks compared to the movie. In the manga, he actually looks so much younger, which surprised me. I know it's not important in the context of the anime, or maybe it is, but how does he see with his eyes covered most of the time? Is homie rocking a Byakugan under there? Is this guy a Hyuga? I don't know.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
We only get a brief glimpse of his eyes when he's wearing his glasses indoors. Otherwise, he's keeping them covered outside. That mystery seems to be connected to his ability, Limitless, which allows him to control space and time on an atomic level apparently. That shit sounds kinda broken, I'm not gonna lie. In chapter 4, during his fight with Miguel, it's hinted that his eyes are what allow him to do this technique. I know based on the talk online and from friends that this guy is the guy in the show. And the fact that he's a good guy makes it real interesting. I don't want to delve too much into it, but I'm sure it'll come up in future videos. How do you make a good guy that guy?
Who the f is that guy? Who the f is that?
Okay, now that I've broken down my 3rd grade level understanding of the story and the characters, let's move on to some of the stuff that I thought was poorly done. The art in the movie is beautiful, I won't deny it, but the art in the manga has so many inconsistencies. Gojo, for example, looks way different between the bandages and the glasses. He looks 10 years younger with the shades. I don't know, I know it's not a big deal, but it bothered me for some reason.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
That's a minor issue. We can move past from that. The one big problem that I had with this arc, none of the characters made me feel a deep emotional connection with them.
Ha! Gay!
That's so important. Literally all of the major anime that have been super successful have been able to do that. Now I understand this is just one arc. I have to give it time. But in a standalone movie, I wasn't able to do this.
Well, that's true in a way.
The reason for that is that I think it's missing an it factor. Now, Utah and Gojo, those are the two to keep an eye on. Even Maki, they show a lot of potential. The way that cursed energy is created, you know, the bad vibes of human beings gathering together from like places like hospitals and creating curses, reminds me a lot of Bleach and the way hollows are created. In fact, many Bleach comparisons make it feel a little too similar for comfort. I'm sure the show will evolve its own identity soon. So again, not a huge deal, but just a little too similar for comfort for now.
I just want to talk to him.
Why do you have a shotgun?
I just want to talk to him.
Dad, this is ridiculous!
I just want to talk to him.
Alright, I've ragged on it enough. Let's talk about some of the good things that is done.
Ready? You have the cameras rolling?
Now, from my understanding, this was a one-shot that was created as a standalone solo thing before the actual story was created. Now, with one-shots, oftentimes there's no guarantee of a sequel. So that's why it surprises me so much that one of the strongest points of the arc is its setup for the future.
So this is the future.
Akutami focuses heavily on fleshing out the backgrounds of each character, establishing major families and future events. He forces you to ask questions about almost every character he introduces, which forces you to keep on watching.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
For example, what's Geto's and Gojo's backstory? How did Panda become a panda? What's Maki's family like? Overall, I'm intrigued. Don't get me wrong. It's just that the first arc hasn't lived up to the insane expectations set by everybody else. I know it's only the first movie and the first arc. Don't worry. I'll be here for the ride.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers.